Welcome to the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham. In a moment, we're going to bring you this week's episode of Bulldog Drummond. But I do want to encourage you, if you enjoy the podcast, follow us using your favorite podcast software. And I want to encourage you to check out our other podcasts. And today I'm highlighting the Old Time Radio Snack Wagon, where every week we bring you a snack-sized bit of old time radio across a wide variety of different genres. It's perfect if you're looking for a podcast to listen to that just takes a few minutes. And our focus is, as always, building up that passion and awareness of all the great things that you can find on Old Time Radio. So I encourage you to check out the Old Time Radio Snack Wagon at snackwagon.net or wherever you get your podcast. But now it is time for Death Has a New Look from June 23rd of 1948.
Out of the fog, out of the night, and into his American adventures comes Bulldog Drummond.
I lie awake in the darkness of the night, and in my memory I still hear the slow, mournful monotony of the drums, as their hymn of death echoes through the tropical night, as they beat out the devil's tattoo. I lie awake and think how that evil dirge reached across thousands of miles to touch me. The man from the consulate sat opposite my desk. The grimness of his swarthy face was relieved only by bright, active eyes that shifted nervously, grasping rapier-like views of every corner of the room.
You are sure we will not be overheard, Captain Drummond?
We're quite alone, Colonel Mendez.
As I say, this is a matter of great secrecy. To settle the trouble in my country, we need outside help. Someone who is unknown on the island. My government has decided that you are the man to stop Diablo.
Diablo. That's all you know about his identity? Just the name, Diablo?
That is all. Diablo. And well named. He is the very devil himself. His followers have killed scores of our people. They come out of the jungle and down from the hills to plunder our towns, to murder our men, our women, even our children.
And what's behind all of it? What's the reason?
Devil worship.
Devil worship?
See, I know it is hard to believe. But on the islands in the Caribbean, there are still those who are outside the fringe of civilization. Those who live the way of the untamed jungle and the law of the savage. Captain Drummond, I am leaving for the islands on the White Castle. It says tomorrow evening. You will help us?
The White Castle tomorrow evening. Pardon me. I'll call the steamship office to make reservations for Denny and me.
That will not be necessary.
Oh, but you said...
Captain Drummond, your reputation precedes you. I knew you would accept. I have already made the necessary
Well, Denny, we're on our way. Take your last look at the New York skyline over there.
Frankly, sir, I wish we were headed for it instead of away from it. Devil worship and all that.
Why, Denny, I thought you'd look forward to a little excitement under Caribbean skies. Or do I sound too much like a traveler?
Sir, that imp is jumping up and down inside of me.
What imp?
The little chap who tells me we're in for something much more than just excitement. He's my trouble barometer.
Possibly you should see a doctor about it.
Oh, really, Captain Drummond? This is no joking matter. Wait and see. And another thing, sir.
Yes, Denny.
This horrible vessel, why, it's nothing more than a floating tin can.
It's called a tramp steamer.
Well, that's a good name for it. A very good name indeed.
Come along, Denny. Come along. It's time for dinner. We'll join Colonel Mendes in the dining salon.
Dining salon.
And remind me to have an extra place set for that impish chap inside you.
Please, you must help me.
What?
I don't know what I am doing here. My hair, it was not this color. I don't know how I got here. Where are we going? What is this?
Yes, now, just a minute, young lady.
Oh, please, you've got to tell me. You've got to tell me where I am.
I say she's ill, sir.
My hair, it was not like this.
Perhaps we'd better take her to the captain.
I'll handle it, Denny.
Please, you must help me.
Now, young lady, listen to me.
That man in the room, who is he? What is he doing there? Oh, please.
Will you listen to me?
Please,
I'm trying to help you. If you'll only...
You will help me?
Yes. But you must quiet down. You must pay attention.
Oh, I will pay attention.
Now, what is your name?
I don't know. I don't remember. My hair was not this color. It was dark. And now it is like this. I remember that. I remember my hair was dark.
May I see that key?
What key?
The one you have in your hand.
Oh,
Thank you. Number 7. Denny, we're taking this young lady to stateroom number 7.
No, please. That man is there.
What man?
He says he is my husband, but I never saw him before in my life.
Here's the key, Denny. Open the door.
Yes, sir.
Oh, please don't take me in there. I am afraid.
Maria! Maria!
It is that man. Oh, take me away, please.
Maria!
Maria!
Please don't let
Well,
him.
I'm so glad you found her. I was arranging for her dinner. When I returned, she was gone. I have been looking everywhere. I will take her inside.
No, don't let him,
She
please.
must rest. Thank you.
Now, just a minute.
Yes.
Who are you, and who is this young lady?
I am Carlos de Soto. She is my wife, Maria.
No, I don't know this man.
Perhaps we'd better all see the captain.
She is not well. The doctors in New York could not help her. They say maybe with rest she will get better. I am taking her home. Perhaps there on the island with the warm air and the quiet...
You say this woman is your wife?
No.
She wears the wedding ring. It is the same as mine. See? Here are our passports. Look at them.
Well, they seem to be in order. What's this?
That is our wedding picture. We were very happy then, before Maria was sick like this.
Mrs. DeSoto, you'd better go inside with your husband.
Thank you.
Oh, please, he is not my husband.
Maria, dear, you must
Oh, you mustn't let him. You must help me.
And Mr. DeSoto, I suggest that you be careful about where you leave your stateroom keys. The next time, your wife might run into serious trouble.
Thank you. I will remember.
A magnificent performance, Maria.
Thank you. I trust I was convincing.
It went beautifully. You worked up deep sympathy in your audience. Diablo would be fascinated.
So,
Captain Drummond, being the clever detective, will wonder why you, a supposedly sick woman, were allowed to get your hands on the stateroom key. Perhaps you will wonder, too, why your hair was bleached. Detectives look at little things like that when they're troubled. And I'm sure Drummond is puzzled by your case. The more interest he shows in us, the more easily we shall arrange for the sudden end of Colonel Mendes.
Entire top deck, sir. Not a sign of Colonel Mendes. What could have happened to him?
I don't know, Denny. I don't know. He must be on the ship somewhere. And we're going to keep looking until we find him. Here's his stateroom.
But, sir, we tried this stateroom before.
And we're going to try again. Maybe we overlooked... Wait.
What is it, sir?
The door's locked.
Oh, but it wasn't locked before. Perhaps he's inside. Perhaps he...
Colonel Mendes! Colonel Mendes! Colonel Mendes! All right, come on, Denny. We're breaking in. Ready?
Ready, sir.
Let's go. Again, it's giving. Now, once again.
It's empty. There's no one here. But how...
Denny, look here. It was on the bed.
Why, it's a drum, sir. A miniature drum.
And look at this emblem on it.
A devil.
Diablo's drum.
But, sir, why is this drum in his room?
Mumbo jumbo.
Eh?
This drum, Denny, is a symbol in primitive worship, the symbol of death. Colonel Mendez is gone.
Yes, but where? How? A man just doesn't disappear like that, just vanish into thin air.
No, Denny, not into thin air. Into the water, perhaps.
Oh, but who could have done it?
That drum, Denny, is a calling card. One of Diablo's agents.
Diablo's agent? Aboard this ship? One of the passengers?
Or a crew member.
Dear sir, if we had only paid less attention to Mr. De Soto and his sick wife, Colonel Mendez might still be alive.
Yes, I thought of that, too. And, Denny, my interest in the De Sotos is even greater now.
Captain Drummond.
Well, what is it?
It just occurred to me. I just realized it.
What?
They must know about our mission. With Diablo's agent aboard this ship, with Colonel Mendez out of the way, you and I may be next. Diablo's agent...
Denny, down!
Well, what happened, sir?
Phew. You can get up now, Denny. Lucky I saw that door open.
What was it?
Someone threw a knife at us. And it's very comforting to see it in that wall over there rather than in either you or me.
Oh, there, sir. That proves it. It's just as I was saying.
Yes, Denny, as you were saying, speak of the devil. I'll return in a moment to continue our story. I lie awake in the darkness of the night, and in my memory I still hear the slow, mournful monotony of the drums as they beat out the devil's tattoo. I lie awake and think how a ship brought me closer and closer to that evil hymn.
Here are your passports, senores. Everything is satisfactory.
Thank you.
You gentlemen will please go to the baggage clearance office 5. He's over there.
Very well. Come along, Denny.
Yes, sir.
Well, Denny, so far so good. Here we are on land, safe and sound.
On land, but it's fairly questionable how safe or sound. And what a wretched place. Smelly and beastly hot.
Why, Denny, that's the glamour of the tropics.
Then, if you don't mind, as soon as we get our baggage, I'd like to find a hotel and bath. I want to wash some of this tropical glamour off me.
That will have to wait until after we do some checking up on Mr. and Mrs. Carlos De Soto. Here's office 5.
What? Why, sir, this office is empty. There's no baggage in...
Must be some mistake. We'll try.
You are Captain Drummond?
Yes?
I am Manuel Valdez, Inspector of Police. I had you directed here. It is about Colonel Mendez.
Oh, I see.
We received your radiogram about his disappearance at sea.
Well, there are some details, Inspector, I didn't put in the message for fear...
There has been a mistake, Captain Drummond. Colonel Mendez was not aboard the White Castle.
What are you talking about?
On the 22nd, that was the day after the White Castle sailed, we received a message from our consulate. In a room in a New York hotel, they found Colonel Mendez murdered. The colonel did not accomplish his mission. Now, if you will come with me to my office, I will show you the report. As this confidential report shows, Mendez was sent on a secret mission to seek your aid. But he was murdered before he reached you, Captain Drummond.
Well, then, sir, who was the person posing as Colonel Mendez? Couldn't it have been one of Diablo's men?
In all probability. But in that case, why was the bogus Colonel Mendez erased? Inspector Valdez, I still have an idea that the De Sotos might supply some answers to our questions.
But I tell you, Captain Drummond, Carlos De Soto is one of the outstanding citizens. His family for generations have been the chief benefactors on the side. Pardon. Hello? Oh, yes, Doctor. She has. I see. That was on your advice. Thank you. Goodbye, Doctor. Well, Captain Drummond, there you are. That was the De Soto's doctor. He says that he has been treating Maria De Soto for the past 6 months for a nervous disorder. On his recommendation, Carlos had taken Maria to see doctors in your country.
Yes. Well, I still should like to visit the De Sotos.
Very well. Their plantation is on the other side of the island.
That shouldn't take long to get to. I'm quite anxious to talk to them.
Diablo's people are in the jungles and the hills. We would never get across the island alive. We must go around the island. There are only wagon roads most of the way. It will take us at least a day.
Then we'll get started immediately.
As you say, but I tell you there could be no connection between Diablo and the De Sotos. Why, only last year Carlos offered a reward for the capture of Diablo.
In that case, I shall be quite happy to receive the reward directly from Carlos De Soto himself.
I say, how much further before we get to a stopping place? It's getting so dark.
There, in the distance, in the valley. You can see the lights. There is a village. We will rest there for the night.
The sooner we get there, the better for my nervous system.
Denny is allergic to the night.
Only tropical nights. Oh, what I wouldn't give for the beautiful din and clamor of Times Square and...
Wait.
What's the matter?
Quietly.
Devil drums.
They're getting closer.
It is the signal. Diablo's men are coming down from the hills.
In this direction?
Perhaps, who knows? Adelante! Adelante!
I say, what do we do now?
If we can make the village, adelante!
Can't the horses go any faster?
Look, the village.
I say, a fire. And look, there's another. And another.
Diablo's men, they are in the village. Alto! Alto!
I say, better turn back.
They may be behind us.
Well, then what do we do? In heaven's name, what do we do?
We stay here for the night, in the woods.
And we pray, Denny. We pray that we're alive to see the sunrise tomorrow morning.
No, please, no, don't kill me. Please, knife,
Denny.
please,
Denny.
Please, no, not
Denny,
that.
wake up.
No.
Wake up, Denny.
What? Oh, Captain Drummond, it's you, sir.
It's morning, Denny.
And we're still alive.
Quite alive. And as for me, I'm very hungry.
Where's Inspector Valdez?
He went for the horses. He'll be right back.
Oh, sir, I had the most horrible nightmare.
Yes, so I heard.
A huge devil was chasing me through a jungle. Then he caught me and was about to plunge a knife into me.
What's wrong?
We will have to go on foot to the village.
Well, what's happened, Valdez?
The horses are gone.
Well, perhaps they wandered off. Perhaps we can find...
No. I tied them both to a tree last night. The ropes were cut. And beside the tree I found the rifle. Hello! Hello! It was no use, Captain Drummond. Not a living thing is left in this village.
Say, just look at it, sir. Ashes, debris, and death.
Yes, Diablo is thorough in his desolation. Well, Valdez, we'd better get along. How far to the De Soto's plantation on foot?
We could not reach it before nightfall. There is no food. Perhaps we had better turn back.
No, we're going on.
But, sir, I'm famished. What are we going to do?
We'll look through these ruins. We'll find something to eat. Valdez, you try over there. Denny and I will search this place here.
Very well, Captain Drummond.
Come along, Denny. Well, Denny, coming?
Please, sir, I want to talk to you about something very important.
I thought you were so hungry.
I am, but I'm much more concerned with Inspector Valdez's conduct. Do you realize, sir, that all along he has tried to dissuade us from visiting the De Sotos? His actions have seemed most peculiar for a police officer.
I've been quite aware of Valdez's actions from the start. And the most peculiar thing, Denny, is what happened last night. Or rather, what didn't happen last night.
What do you mean, sir?
If Diablo's men did steal our horses, mark you, I say, if they did, why were we permitted to live? They surely must have known that we were in the woods nearby.
Then Valdez, he might be one of Diablo's...
Possibly, Denny. Possibly.
I say, Captain Drummond.
Come on, hurry, Denny, hurry.
It must have been Valdez. What could have happened?
When we get into that house, be on your guard. It might be a trap. All right, be careful now.
There he is, over there.
Valdez. Valdez. He's dead, Denny. We were wrong about Valdez.
But this village is deserted. How did it happen? Who could have done it? Sir.
There's your answer, Denny. The devil drums are beating out your answer.
What an unexpected pleasure, Captain Drummond. It is so seldom we have visitors here at the plantation. We are so isolated, you know.
Sir, could we... That is, I wondered if...
What Denny wants to say, Mr. DeSoto, is that we're quite famished.
Yes, starved.
We've had a rather trying journey.
Of course. We are about to have dinner. Maria will be very happy to see you. Come along, gentlemen.
Thank you. And how is Mrs. DeSoto?
Improved. Much improved. Now that she is home, she is much less agitated. This way, please. Maria, we have visitors. You remember Captain Drummond and his...
Yes, I remember.
And our other guest, Maria?
He will be here in a moment.
Sir, she seems to be all right now.
Captain Drummond, we have another diner with us this evening. As they say in your country, the more the merrier. Ah, there he is now.
Captain Drummond.
Good evening, senores.
Sir, it's the man who posed as Colonel Mendez, the man who disappeared at sea.
Captain Drummond, I have been anxiously awaiting your arrival. Oh, by the way, permit me to introduce myself. I am Diablo. I am sorry about this revolver, senores. I realize it makes friendly conversation difficult, but I am afraid it is necessary in this case.
I understand perfectly.
As I was saying, Capitan, your evaluation of Carlo De Soto is correct. He has been my most trusted supporter.
And wealthiest.
In a cause like mine, money is a necessary evil.
But I still don't understand. He wasn't aboard the ship, and he couldn't have...
Denny is still perturbed by your disappearance at sea.
And you?
Stop me if I'm wrong. You jumped overboard at a designated spot where you were picked up by a boat.
Correct again. And then I arrived here by plane 2 days ahead of you. A clever plan, no?
As melodramatic as a 10-cent novel. And as cheap.
Why, Captain Drummond. And I was so sure you would appreciate it. It was one of the reasons I permitted you to come this far.
And the other reasons?
Mainly because I admired the challenge you presented. It was most entertaining. And, too, I wanted you here at the finish when my plan is crowned with success. Tomorrow, I shall lead my men into the capital. Carlos has gone ahead to wait my triumphant entry. There is the signal for tomorrow's attack.
The devil drums.
Yes, Denny, devil drums. But not in the way we thought of them. They're beating out the same note of doom that sounded throughout the world when the power-mad conquerors were desolating civilization a few years ago. And here, on this island now, is a little carbon copy of the 20th century Caesars. Like the others, he's played upon superstition and prejudice to build his power, to promote his greed. He calls it devil worship, but it's the same as the others. Hate, labeled with a different brand. But Denny, he'll fail. He'll fail like the rest.
Bravo, bravo. A very moving speech, Captain Drummond. Now I am all the more anxious to have you witness my success. So, gentlemen, if you will...
Out of the way, Denny! Drummond, you grab the gun. It's on the floor.
I see it, sir.
Now, This is for the real Colonel Mendes. And this is for Valdez.
Stop!
And
Please, stop!
This is for those you slaughtered.
No more, please.
And that was from good people everywhere. All right, Denny. Let's get him out of there.
Yes?
Get your hands up, DeSoto. I said up. That's better.
What are you doing here?
I've come for you, DeSoto.
But Diablo!
Denny and I escorted him into the city here in a most untriumphant entry. He's waiting for you at headquarters.
The drums! The drums! They've stopped!
Yes. Diablo's men have marched into an ambush.
The drums! The drums have stopped!
You'll hear drums again, DeSoto, you and Diablo. You'll both hear them again for the last time as you march out into the yard before the firing squad. I'll be back in a moment to tell you about next week's story. A stroll along the waterfront starts Denny and me on an adventure of strange proportions. The dimensions are 3 murders by 1 prison break. A sturdy frame-up is built to bring you the story I call Dead Beat. Be sure to listen, won't you?
Welcome back. One of those villains who can't resist a challenge and really should have. Having killed the original official, there was no reason to involve Drummond at all, particularly as his plan was about to come to fruition. But I guess you can't expect subtlety and common sense from the leader of a devil cult. Well, now we turn to listener comments and feedback, and we start out with comments regarding my 15th anniversary special. And Jay emails in, "Dear Adam, I enjoyed your 15-year retrospective. Congratulations. But I would love to hear more about how you discovered podcasting and your thoughts on the industry today." He'll go into more detail on the industry today question, but I'll answer the discovered podcasting part as he'll add some elaboration on the podcasting industry stuff. I had always had an interest in doing some sort of broadcasting, even before podcasting was a thing, when we had dial-up internet at our home. My brother and I found this website where you could do the best you possibly could do before broadband, and that was streaming audio. You could record audio, it would be uploaded in the real audio format, and people could listen to it sort of sometimes. And we just kind of played around with it. We did our own superhero series, audio drama, where we played all the parts. I thought it was fun, but my brother has forbidden me from ever releasing or sharing it. And he also recorded angry political commentary as an angry Scotsman with this very strong Scottish accent. And if you are going to record angry political commentary, which I don't recommend, I think that's probably the best way to do it. So all that to say, I was primed, and then I read articles about it, and I did a search, and I found somewhere where you could post podcasts for free, and I kind of went on a bit of experimenting. In many ways, it was like Jack Webb working on KGO. I tried a few different things. I did a podcast about bargains. I did a podcast about politics. I even did a podcast about baseball with some person I met on the internet. I just didn't have time to keep that up with other commitments. So that's the long and short of the podcast origin story. He goes on and says, Google doesn't seem to know how many podcasts there were in 2009, but it can't have been many. Now apparently there are over 2 million. Many of these are very commercial and, to my taste, overproduced. For example, intrusive music soundtracks. Fortunately, you've remained faithful to the informal and independent spirit of early podcasts. Is it harder to stand out and find listeners in today's podcast ocean? Or does the popularity of the genre lift all boats? It would be great to hear your thoughts as a pioneer of the genre. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate the questions. I will say that the estimate for the number of podcasts out there that I see runs at between 3 and 4 million, but of those that are active, it's only about 155,000. Still, it does present challenges in standing out. Certainly, I've had a couple of podcasts I've tried to start. The Classic Comics podcast I did a few years back, and that never really took off. And the Old Time Radio Stack Wagon, even though I've got existing audience, is nowhere near the size of Great Detectives. So I would say it's much harder to get noticed, and it takes time. There is a podcast marketing consultant who I've encountered, and he says that if you're going to grow a podcast, you need to plan to take about 5 years. And there's so much that's challenging about it. There's no real great key to podcast discoverability. Like even on YouTube, YouTubers will talk about, I had that one video and I went viral. That doesn't really happen with podcasts. And unlike other media, there's not really magic codes to SEO success. So you're in a crowded space and it's a struggle to get noticed. So unless you're a celebrity or you've got a podcast that's being promoted by a major app, it's going to be hard to grow your audience. It happens, and certainly there are a lot of people who are successful with it, but it takes a lot of time. In terms of the state of podcasting and the industry as a whole, it's very hard to generalize about millions of podcasts or even the 155,000 that are active. When I went to Podfest in January, it really was a pleasure to get to meet and see so many podcasters. And the people who run that event just do such a good job of trying to create a good, positive environment. And there are podcasters at all levels. And a lot of people who are very passionate about what they do and what they talk about. I got to meet some really great people, and we've had a couple of them on. Now, there are podcasts that I don't care for, and there are also entire formats that I don't like. And that's kind of tricky, because if I don't like something, is it because it's bad or is it because it's not for me? I've not encountered a whole lot of overproduction. If there's one thing in the industry that bothers me, it is the push from certain sectors to really shove podcasters into doing video, and to suggest that if you're not on video, you're somehow second class. Now, I'm not denying in any way that video can be valuable for podcasters. There are certain audiences that like to see people talk, particularly if you're talking about a subject that's very sensitive or important to you. But there are also a lot of podcasts where video doesn't add value. This is an example of one. There are also the sort of audio documentary storytelling type podcasts. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Plus, one of the great values of podcasts is that people can take them anywhere and listen to them at times when they can't see a screen, so there is value to being audio only. And I'm concerned that this sort of pressure from many quarters leads to people investing a lot of time in learning video and getting video right, which is a time-consuming and challenging process. And it's the type of thing that could burn out some newer creators who really could just kind of grow in working and learning the audio stuff. So that's an industry trend that I'm not a fan of. I actually did an entire class teaching people that you can be on YouTube and you can be audio only and you can enjoy some success. But I feel there's a lot of good people, a lot of great podcasts, and still opportunities out there, although it's very, very challenging to find that audience. And then over on Facebook, Leonard left a nice happy anniversary message. Well, thank you so much, Leonard. Now it is time to thank our Patreon supporter of the day, and I want to go ahead and thank Eliza. Eliza's been one of our Patreon supporters since July 2021, currently supporting the podcast at the Shamus level of $4 or more per month. Thank you so much for your support, Eliza. And that will do it for today. We will be back next Tuesday with another episode of Bulldog Drummond, but join us back here tomorrow for Broadway's My Beat, where...
Mr. Baker, I talked to your brother a long time. I think you can be proud of him.
Proud? Hardly that. Making a fortune and giving it to drifters. Well, that's his own affair, I suppose. But it's the other thing.
Which is?
His insane delusion that I want to murder him.
Yet you don't want him committed to an institution. Why?
Well, I'm sorry for him. He means no harm. I try to help him.
How?
Well, I arranged that he be taken care of by a doctor.
Oh, I'm glad you did. What doctor?
An expensive one, Dr. Michael Sinclair.
Dr. Michael Sinclair. I see. Oh, pardon me a minute.
Yeah, surely.
Danny Clover speaking.
He tried it again, Danny. He tried to kill me again.
He did, Henry? When was this?
Just now, just this instant. He shot at me, but he didn't get me.
I'm glad to hear it, Henry.
You'll have to do something, Danny. Promise me you'll do something.
I promise. Where are you?
2150 East 20th Street.
I'll be right down. Your brother, Mr. Baker.
What did he want?
You'll have to excuse me. I got to get down there. He says there's been another attempt on his...
I hope you'll be with us then. In the meantime, send your comments to box13@greatdetectives.net. Follow us on Twitter at Radio Detectives and check us out on Instagram. Instagram.com/Great Detectives. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off.